some reason they want to put us.
I like talking to the desk, they're such they're nice. I know, yeah. You usually don't, but that's why we like you though.
Oh yeah, I mean Johnny usually calls him while he's grilling from the rooftop. Like, oh, what's up, man? Oh yeah, let me join this Twitter space. You know, what are you guys doing? Listen, I think
Silver Spoon reinforce. You know, only can chat from his convertibles and his rooftop while he's barbecuing.
You can't keep doing this. You can't keep telling everyone your colleagues are so wealthy, Matt. It just doesn't work. This one here, though, I think if you want to talk about embarrassment of riches, Matt, I mean, these two teams, they definitely don't need to take showers. They take baths all the time. You know all about that, I'm sure, Mr. Long Island. I think these two teams have everything they need now to exemplify their particular styles, right? If you're looking at, throughout the world for, like, maybe some of the best teams at these comps, Dallas definitely, I think in the Lucio Moira setup, and the Shanghai Dragons, maybe. We saw the Atlanta Reign look amazing in Arista competitions here. The Shanghai Dragons are going to have to show something special to do with Dallas, I think, in this current meta. And I don't think what we see in the first map will necessarily tell us the whole story, because, of course, Control requires its own sort of compositions, and teams do play more aggressive here. But let's have a look at the Dallas Fuel map. Let's reacquaint ourselves with our May Melee champions on their second trip to Hawaii, no less. This is a squad to be reckoned with now. Fearless, Matt maybe has a little bit less kill potential as Winston in this current meta, but he still looks incredibly good in that main tank position. And you can see he's ranked #1 in tanks. Doha's ranked #2. Oh, by the way, that's because Sparker's ranked #1. I mean, this team is just...
Jexa's really holding this team back. #3. I mean, no, they've been dominant. Somebody asked if they were going to play Pine this weekend. And I don't think so. I think this would be a terrible way to integrate Pine into the lineup. But they have the... And look, you've been rolling with this 6. Continue to play with it. You don't necessarily need a hit scan. I think that's been proven by the Dallas Fuel early on in this season, as they lose Xe, and now they signed Pine, but we haven't seen him yet. Shanghai starting lineup, nothing too surprising either. They do have some new player signings.
Develop.
But I don't expect them to see yet develop Who Are You recently. We'll see Fleta Lip in the starting lineup today. Not a bad DPS combo by any stretch of the imagination. I think the one knock you can maybe have on Fleta is, like, he's not as aggressive as, like, some of these other players, on the Echo. Like, not that much of, like, a playmaker in that regard. But when you have Lee Jae-gun going for boops galore, you don't exactly need
Matt, that's actually been Fleta's story since the beginning of his stint in the league. In fact, even before that. As a player on even Flashlights. I think he was always, especially as a Widow, I remember when Season 1 we had this narrative, it was like Linksa and Fleta. And in the origin of the Fleta deadlift story, but Fleta was always a player that was pretty safe, pretty self-sufficient, was never, never was grouped by bloodlust and would go charging in or trying to go for flashy stuff here. That's the kind of consistency that wins you MVPs, as we now know. This Shanghai Dragons team obviously still feeling the sting from their losses against the Dallas Fuel in the May Melee, and they're here for revenge. This map pool will be interesting. It's loser's pick, and there are some maps that Dallas look a little weaker on with this composition. Dorado is one that comes to mind, where they sort of have to try to use the Genji if the enemy team, uses Widow on defense. So there are opportunities here to try and punish that lack of hit scan, but you're right, Dallas don't need it. It is loser pick in the map pool here, so it's not like your regular matches where the map pool's already predetermined. Shanghai can try and game against Dallas's perceived weaknesses, man.
Yeah, Shanghai does pick this first map, as they are the higher seed coming in, so they pick Busan. I was going to mention this when we were closing towards the end with the desk, but there's not a ton of maps you pick where you don't value like speed and mobility, which you get with like a Winston-based composition. You can pick maps that are definitely not good for, Orisa compositions and whatnot, with tons of verticality and, snowbally type alleys, like an Imbani, let's say. But not a lot where you can really punish aggression and dive, where I think that makes it harder for Shanghai, depending on where they want to go. So, Dallas, no surprises here. This is what they'll play most, if not all, of the series. For the Dragons, I wonder if they go with this ball comp, as we saw New York run a variation of this. New York ran it with the Moira in the mix. It's going to be Flynn on the 76, so they go double hit scan.
This is
with the Ana.
Philadelphia Fusion tried this as well at multiple occasions, Matt, with the Soldier 76, the Wrecking Ball. It's all good until you get sort of snarled up, sort of on the wrong side of the map here. The 76 always wants to take an off angle, always wants to flank around. So that's always an individual that Dallas can choose to dive on. If Fledder wants to get the most out of the Soldier 76, he might actually have to play contrary to how Soldier will be best suited on this map.
Right, and I kind of understand what Shanghai is trying to do in terms of if you look at this composition as, okay, you know, they don't have anything long range, they have the Echo up in the sky, we can play the hit scan, take advantage of it, but that's not really the goal of this composition from the Dallas Fuel. They want to pick a target who's, you know, sectioned off from the team and dive them. And Shanghai gives them loads of targets to do that.
It's voluntary.
They go from one side, they go from one side of the map, Dallas, to the other, just charging down players of the Dragons, and the Dragons aren't even able to flip the point. And because they're playing the Ana, right? The Ana is going to play off at a distance with somebody else, so you have one clear dive target at all time, and no real kind of counter dive opportunities. So Fate will go on, get a touch. You can have one player go back for him. It looks like the entire team right now.
They'll be doing that the whole time, mate. It'll be a death ball constantly. I mean, that's a huge pile driver kill, Matt.
Yeah, I mean, that's massive. To get Sparkle, he was pretty low at the beginning. That's a sleep there onto Doha from Lift. So this is starting to work now for Shanghai. Maybe you can make this work when you get control of the point and you can start playing players at a distance and poking from different sides of the map. As you did have the Dallas Fuel end up using their sound barrier during that. So Nano and sound barrier available here for the Shanghai Dragons. For Dallas, you'll have that always important coalescence.
Yeah, potential Nano Visor here for Shanghai. They will be contesting with the coalescence. This is tough for Doha, Matt. Teleporting into the backline, it's pretty telegraphed and very easy for Izayaki just to hit him with the sleep dart. So, you know, Doha will have to be a little bit more creative about how he... You can't just TP forward like some team, like the Shot, for example, love doing with this setup.
Yeah.
Let's see what Flutter goes for here. He's already looking for that off angle, Matt. Attack visor, here it is. Coalescence is going to be in play, but Fielder knows he has to play it of line of sight. A defense matrix gets stuck in Flutter's face, but he puts the biotic field down, and now a Primal Rage Winston wards him away. It's not enough, though. Hanmin goes down to the self-destruct, and Flutter is there to test, strips off of Fearless. He pops out a Primal Rage form, and as the smoke clears, it's a 1-for-1. It's a big pile driver, but Flutter was not ready for Doha there. Perfect stuff. I said he had to be more creative, Matt, with how he sets up, and that was exactly what he did.
Yeah, and Dallas Fuel flips that. Even with being down in terms of support ultimates, enough to flip their beautiful Primal Rage by Fearless, able to knock Fleta around when he's trying to use that tack visor, as you all bob and mines here for the Dragons. And I think there's variations, we've seen Dallas Fuel at times, they've actually pulled out the Genji. I think this is one where, if you wanted to, you could put Doa on the Echo and put Sparkle on the Genji. Genji obviously very strong against hit scan composition.
Yeah, ordinarily against double sniper or at least a Widow composition, they'll go for it. Here they get a ton of value out of Doha anyway.
But look at this, I mean, you just have Fate on the point. Like providing really nothing for the team in terms of peeling back. And this is the worry a lot of us had about the Dragons. Yes. Could they match this level of aggression? Could they play against this? They try something interesting at the start. Seems like some of the APAC teams, at least for Control, have opted to go towards the Wrecking Ball, at least very early from what we've seen thus far. As it doesn't work out there on our first point. We'll go inside to Mecha Base, though, for our second.
Yeah, so the woes, I think, that we teased out early in the round end up being a problem for Shanghai. It's a pretty big vulnerability and liability of having players roles that by design are supposed to be playing individually. You can't be low economy here. This is what Doha does, by the way. So this is still a teleport. Izayaki's he can't respond to this. No one can really shut this down, and Void's mech was already super low. Easy for Doha.
Yeah, so like I mentioned, there's different things that Dallas Fuel can do. This time they actually bring in the Doomfist. So I was mentioning the Sparkle on Genji, but you can easily put him on Doomfist, as this will be a Orisa setup here for Shanghai. Loads of damage with the Reaper in the 76. 76, though, just a sitting dog. So that'll be Sparkle who goes in and picks him off.
I mean, it doesn't really matter for Sparkle, I think, who he gets, as long as it's not Orisa. Someone gets knocked up against the wall. The displacement hurts almost as much as the insta-kill.
And you have the Lucio here for Shanghai. Like, how are you disengaging with this comp? Like,
I don't know.
Against like a Winston Diva Doomfist with their own Lucio, like, you know, you're not running away with the Orisa. It's and the thing with it is Dallas doesn't care about the shield. Like, they will just push past the shield. It does not matter. This will be the coalescence. You see the shield quickly gone. Everybody passed it. This will be the Dallas Fuel winning yet another fight here against the Shanghai Dragons. Shanghai, with this next go, though, they'll have an Amp Matrix, so you do have some uses for this, right? Amp Matrix with the 76 could really shred at range. You'll have a Supercharger as well. This could force Dallas to hide long enough that you could, like, flip a point. This will be Supercharger first.
Okay, this baits the engagement from Dallas now. They're going to be taking a face full of damage. Jagon, though, a little bit too slow to keep Fate alive. The sound barrier comes just devastatingly too late. Sparkle drops in and then gets on out pretty comfortably. The Dragons, it's back to the drawing board once more, and they have used not one, but two support ultimates in that fight.
Yeah, and you know, they are able to hold on to sound barrier. That's crazy to even think about. Supercharger and then Amp Matrix, and Dallas Fuel didn't even use sound barrier, didn't even use beat. You can see Fleta really hasn't done a ton on Soldier. Been on it the entire time. 70% on the point. He's got 70% on his ultimate.
Doha, it's a second Diva in play now. And that's a nightmare for Fleta. That means he gets absolutely nothing done. Also for Lip, it makes it very hard for him to penetrate any of these front lines with all this defense matrix in play. Very aggressive stuff from Doha there as he self-destructs, lands himself on the enemy backline, but it's instead Sparkle who falls. And there's Fleta. The pressure from the high ground, the hit scan starting to pay off now. Sound barrier on 3 players. Fearless with the Primal Rage. They do shut Fleta down. He had Tac Visor, but Lip's able to give a good account of himself on the point here. He'll be outnumbered for a time. Wraithwalk buys himself a decent amount, though, and Void's return to help him out. He gets interrupted there by Sparkle, but it will still be the Dragons getting back in the round.
Yeah, and Dallas gets what they want there. They get to 99%. They end up using the beat and the Primal Rage to extend it. And I wonder if you see Sparkle swap now that they have the Wrecking Ball in play. You can opt to stay on the Doomfist, though. We all know Doomfist can just rocket punch, get a one-shot out of nowhere. In the scenario where you're 99% on the point, you could opt to just keep going for it. You know, one punch onto Izayaki or even a Fleta ends this game in Dallas's favor.
And Dallas still have the anti-ball tech because Doha's the one that switches to the Reaper off the Echo. Despite this, not a great start to the fight there. You see the Sparkle constantly looking for a target. They've already found one.
Sparkle is behind Shanghai at this point, so...
yes.
Nothing
stealthier than a 1,000-pound gauntlet hanging off you.
So they haven't gotten a kill, so not going to be able to, like, you know, spawn camp somebody. But he could come flying over the top here from behind.
It does, but it doesn't exactly look... It's imposing.
Picks the wrong side.
Yeah, as I thought it would be. Okay, tries for a seismic slam there. Gets nothing. Okay, Meteor Strike gets in the kill on Izayaki. That's huge. Nice little finisher shot there, and Sparkle's found himself 2 kills. Yep, all the tech in the wall won't save you there. Sorry, mate, he knows what happened. It doesn't matter. Shanghai are in dire straits here. It really is just fate as he just works his way around the point. Again, that anti-ball tech is there. Doha causing problems. Death Blossom creates that space now. Attack Visor could still be an issue if this Winter Bubble goes down, but Fleta, there's too much to protect the rest of the Dallas Fuel. And now to be Void to dip his toes in, Matt. This is the Dallas Fuel looking mighty fine on Busan.
Clean. And that is a Shanghai Dragons map pick.
Oh, man.
That is the control they wanted to go to. So I think you have to worry with how things have started here for Shanghai. What do they go to in terms of map? It'll be interesting. You know, you play the 76 because he's the most mobile out of the hit scans in the pool. Where, you know, if you were to go to like an Ashe or a McCree, that becomes even more of a dive target there for the Dallas Fuel. So I think you're going to have to see them try and pull out something like with a Torbjorn if they want to really make an impact in the series.
Good start here for the Dallas Fuel. As we expected, they're sticking to their guns. Now, do the Dragons have a bigger gun? Or a sword? Shurikens? A bow and arrow? Something else they're going to have to find in the bag of tricks here as we head into map 2. Stick around. This is the Overwatch League June Joust.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile, America's largest and fastest 5G network. Set your sights on the competition with T-Mobile. And by Xfinity, the preferred internet provider of the Overwatch League. The Overwatch League is brought to you by Coca-Cola, the official refreshment of the Overwatch League, and by IBM, the official cloud and AI partner of the Overwatch League.
Oh, talk about it. Heavy hitter. Matt, wrap your peepers around this one, mate. This is Void. And wow, MVP finalist in 2020. He's a role star for 2020. That means that carries into this year. 2020 All-Star, May Melee Countdown Cup champion, and of course #1 in total eliminations in the 2020 season. If you're looking for someone to really make a difference as the jack of all trades, Void is your man.
Oh, insane player. I actually thought, I mean, he probably, at least in my opinion, should have been, you know, I thought he was like the MVP last year. I thought he was that good of a player, and I think definitely was like above some of the others in that role of the off-tank, especially on the Sigma and Diva. It'll be Shanghai's map pick. They go to Volskaya. So this can be a little bit more punishing for like dive comps, or you can play some of the Ash on the high ground, play at a distance. In with our map leaderboard here, presented by Xfinity, it's not been good for Shanghai. So they have to have something here planned specifically to pull out that they can think stops Dallas Fuel's aggression.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but this hasn't been historically a bad map at all for Dallas, right? I feel like this is definitely Shanghai trying to, you know, choose something that they're more comfortable on, but there's a sense where Dallas can kind of still play much the same way here, maybe with a little bit more finesse when it comes to, you know, trying to dig the Shanghai out of defensive positions here. But the Dallas Fuel look like they're very confident. They're in control of their team composition here. Shanghai will likely, Matt, show us something different. You know, it was said that Void's Sigma play specifically is going to be one of their real keys to victory here. And you can see that in the June Joust, these are our out-of-rotation heroes, so that's why we're seeing so much of this Wrecking Ball here. Shanghai persist, though. They go with the legs, the double hit scan set up, but more defensive slanted now with the McCree. And a Wrecking Ball on defense, man. This is, to my eyes, strange. This is what we saw from Paris at times, I think.
Yeah, we've seen Wrecking Ball defenses in our first tournament in the May Melee, and we've seen it on Volskaya. But with the hero pool and kind of everything that's cropped up, we've seen it move away. I'm also interested what the Lucio gives you here for VJ God. Like, what are you getting with the speed? Like, you know, you're gonna try and like run some of these DPS away. As this is an adjustment that I said Dallas Fuel could make. I mentioned it during map 1, but Sparkle on the Genji, if they want to play some of this hit scan stuff, you can definitely play Genji. I'm almost more surprised, Mitch, that if you're Shanghai, you don't run something like a Mercy on defense. You know, pocket one of these hit scans, you know, being able to have a res if you have one of these players play the point or get dove. The damage boost, right?
It is because I think Izzyaki thinks he can play very safely and be very hard to dive. That's also why teams play it sometimes defensively on Eichenwald right now, right back in that hunting lodge, like at the back of point A on defense. So that's the only thing I can think of.
What's going to happen is Fielder's going to get Coalescence, and then they're going to dive up on the high ground and just hunt one of these players down. And Fletta's going to be the choice target.
Well, they did that. Let's see how that goes. The Shanghai Dragons are ready for it, though, Matt. They give ground, and defensive is the name of the game here because Lip just gobbles up Doha, and that's it. Sparkle finds Fleta for sure, but there's not really much more to be done. That high ground was uncontested, and Sparkle's dead to a flash there. That's a flash to the ground.
Yeah, so Fleta just runs around in a circle, and then the big kill is the one on the Doha, takes him out as he's trying to go towards that high ground. So you do win a fight here if you're the Shanghai Dragons. You do have a nano boost now. You know, nano boost, Deadeye. You have you know, mines. So we'll take a look at a replay here from Lip's POV.
Goodbye to grenade.
Those shots are huge because he is also below 50% HP. That focusing beam could have taken him out pretty quick.
Yeah, Izzyaki keeps him alive there. Fearless taken down by Void, and Fade taking his time now. This is a nasty room for a minefield. Forced Fade from Fielder already, and this is where the field might start to run into some problems, Matt, because the backline of the Dragons are playing not one, but two Winston jumps away from the fuel. So you can't just use one Winston jump and get on them here.
No, you have another Coalescence, though. As Fate tries to play in the choke, put some pressure on Fearless coming back.
It's so annoying.
That'll be the minefield.
Now, that won't bother the fuel too much here. I think, yep, eventually Izzyarki's going to struggle. Sparkle would not be denied. That high ground pressure finally pays off as the Dragons buckle at the knees. And Dallas have some kills.
It feels like it's inevitable. Yeah, it's remember back, obviously like goats, right? But I even think like Sombra compositions, right? Where like even if it doesn't look good at the beginning, you know once they get EMP and they're able to force that, like it's gonna be a fight win. Eventually, you realize they're going to get a fight win here. So they'll actually have Izzyaki go from Ana over to Moira and then they'll bring in Lip now on a Reaper. You're going to have, look at this, you have Blade, you have Sound Barrier, a duplicate here, so much for Dallas to work with.
Sticking on the Soldier 76, fascinating. Let's see what Fleta can do with the tactical visor now. He had to get creative with the positioning, there's no doubt, but the Blade is coming for you. Sparkle makes Fleta look like he's been hit by the cat of 9 tails. But Sparkle more like 9 lives. Bomb throw to the backside here, and he'll sit safe now as Fate really doesn't have much to do. This is looking dangerous now for the Shanghai Dragons. A little bit of time gets bought by Fate, but this time Sparkle is canny enough to block the flashbang. Clearly, Fleta feeling the pressure now, switching to a different kind of hit scan hero. Lip has to use Wraithwalk. This is dangerous now because that Cole's going to be waiting for him as soon as he pops out. Fielder looking, hunting. Fleta is down. Jexa gets right in the face of Void, and it's going to be a power drive on the point for Fate. A minefield to back it up, but still the Fuel can capture this point, tiptoeing around the explosives. That self-destruct just makes it so much nastier, and that's a great Winston bubble by Fearless to break a bunch of those mines just from the bubble itself. Beautiful stuff from Dallas, Matt. And you're right, that feeling of inevitability, the Damocles sword effect of the Dallas Fuel's dive is definitely an issue. I can't speak.
And you see the tack visor on the flank. They run it with a Sound Barrier, Blade, and a Primal, and Flood is dead instantly. I don't know if you can, like, let's say Shanghai is not able to break this here. What do you do? And this is something that we had talked about, you know, I think it may have been Avast that brought it up. But like, how does it seem like Shanghai or even NYXL practice for a composition like this during the week? Nobody in the APAC region is running it to really at all, but also at not this high a level. So you can have another team replicate it, but they're not going to play it to the strategy. A lot of teams in APAC, like, they were playing a lot of Ash.
I know that Philly don't play
Winston-based comps.
Yeah, I guess you're right. I mean, maybe it's just not all that commonly.
It's not as prevalent in APAC as it was in.
I mean, maybe
NA.
Jack could probably let us know if he's seen it. I guess a bunch, but no, from the VODs that I've seen, at least, Matt, not so much. So, I mean, this is crazy. We've been seeing a ton of it here in the West, and we're so used to it. But perhaps the Dragons a little bit unsure about the best way to deal with it. What do you make of this composition? The Brigitte Moira?
Okay, so they'll actually bring out the Torbjorn. Which, if you're going to bring out the Torb, you could have went full out on the counter dive and played like the Orisa. And you know how good Void Sigma is. You could have tried to play the double shield. The Torb is pretty good, though, against like a Doomfist, right? The Doom can't shoot at range. This will be a dive, though, that gets off right away, though. And you're constantly fighting these, Mitch, though, with a player down. Like, Fate comes in with a pile driver there towards the end.
He has to go, yeah.
But for a solid, like 8 to 10 seconds, you are fighting that a player down, which you're not always going to leave that with everybody at full strength.
All right, dueling coalescences here, but Fearless goes down too early. Yeah, Izayaki with a Brig just builds that ultimate so quickly. Fielder was a second too late, and they lose their main tank as a result. Fleta, though, is in deep trouble. With Izayaki falling now, this might have stalled out for Shanghai. This could be over.
Yeah, and it'll be Lip who's still here, though. Lip and Fate. That'll be a duplicating self-destruct over the top.
Oh, no, the suck!
You're going to get close to another coalescence here, though, because you've had Hanbin take a ton of damage. Hanbin will have his own self-destruct. You'll have a Sound Barrier here as well for Dallas. So even if they came in fast, you could still fight this.
Molten Core up for Fleta now. Plenty of shields in his way, and that Sound Barrier could be an issue. Dallas buying some time for Doha to return. Here's another self-destruct to force some positioning, and Fleta lets the magma go. It's going to be, Hanbin to find him with the self-destruct, though, Matt.
Yeah, I was going to say, Fearless with the Primal knocking players towards the self-destruct. You end up losing Fleta when he's still using his Molten Core. So you don't get a full use out of the Molten Core. And look at this. Fielder's got another Coalescence here to kick off this next one. I think if you're Shanghai and you want to play the Torb and you don't want to play Echo and you want to play Torb Reaper, like, commit with the Orisa. I don't know if you're getting the value out of this Wrecking Ball as you may perceive.
Fate's still looking for that value, though, Matt. This time it's a minefield on the point. Fielder has Cole, bit of a flanking play here. They might have caught the Dragons by surprise, but Shanghai folds into that left side room. Tara down for Flutter here. He doesn't have that to work with. And Sparkle constantly repositioning here, causing some headaches for Shanghai. Void very much on an island there, literally and figuratively, trying to deal with most of the fuel. And oh dear, Sparkle, he's causing so many problems now. This is what happens, man. But when the wolf gets into the paddock with the sheep.
Look at where Sparkle is playing, and the Diva and the ball are on the point. If you're gonna take your defense matrix and what could possibly be a shield or whatnot away from the rest of the team, you're just creating an easy dive target advantage. And Dallas doesn't care. They just they pick up this composition from Dallas is designed to pick up kills quickly. They can get the kills fast and double back to the point. It doesn't matter to the Dallas Fuel if there's players putting pressure on the point. It's looking like Dallas potentially gets this hold here. Shanghai has some stuff to work with, but it's going to be tough.
Fate knocked away. Again, tries to give it a bit of a tickle. Fearless is knocked off course, in fairness, from Void, but here we go. Sound barrier, Molten Core. Fearless trying to skirt around the edges of it for the time being. Try and find a way for this Primal to make sense, and keeping him alive, I say, is a pretty good reason to use it. He'll catch Void. Void trying to get away. Oh my god, he gets caught inside some of that self-destruct damage because Fearless was juggling him there, so that's going to take a bit to heal up. Good coalescence from Izayaki, comes late in the fight, which benefits the Dragons now, and they finally catch a couple kills. Void self-destruct gets rid of Fearless and Sparkle. Two of the most menacing players so far for Dallas on this round, and the Dragons will finally get point A. Just.
I think that's kind of the best way to put it. Is with no time remaining, Shanghai will take point A. Already behind in time bank. Dallas still have a duplicate for this fight. Some ultimates though for Shanghai to be able to maybe try and get a fast attack, as the duplicate comes out straight away. Sparkle into the backline does so much damage on both supports already. They have to back up.
Okay, don't think Doha got that self-destruct where he wanted it there. A little bit of a tilt at the head, but still, it's a duplicated one. Easy
but they had to use beat, and they never even get close to the point.
I mean, Fate, does it count if Fate does? Probably not. I guess he gets there, tries to make his mark, but really the Wrecking Ball seems... It seems that... I wonder why...
Well,
carry on.
Fate also has a good Orisa, like a very strong Orisa. So, like, if you were to play him on that, like, maybe you're able to make something happen as the minefield comes out.
Izayaki's Coalescence, he's holding it now though. Fielder obviously not so inclined. Fearless goes down, it could be a little bit dicey. Sparkle falls even through Coalescence. Tries to look for something in the absence of Fearless. Doesn't get it. Fearless has spawned back into the fight now, and that's a good time. Sound barrier just to keep Doha alive. If anything, Lib's going to be inside that defense matrix for the most part, and Hanbing's doing a great job of mitigating damage in the absence of the Winston. The Dragons, though, they're still posted up on this point. They'll need to be shifted by force. Fletter's turret goes down, and Fate's doing a good job of getting into the backline here, but really not doing any lasting damage. Self-destruct, that's a second tick now for the fuel they have to touch, and here they come. Duplicated Diva going to come into play now, and here drops Fearless. Minefield on the point. Fearless caught in the corner, can't get away. Great pile driver follow-up from Fate, but there's more work that needs to be done, and Jagon is down. Doha, meaning Diva, she's got the bloodlust, and she wants nothing more than to tussle. The Dragons can't handle it.
And Lee Jae-gon is going for Sound Barrier, and while he's about to drop the beat, Sparkle connects with a Doomfist punch, takes him out before he even got that down.
It happens.
So Fleta now he'll go over to the 76.
Oh, man. It happens more often than getting juggled by insane Winstons, I guess. That, though, is heartbreaking stuff for Lee Jae-gon. Known as pretty much a wild card, aggressive, and not always consistent. Unfortunately, that's really going to hurt Shanghai here, Matthew. 30 seconds left in the round. They can still depend on Izayaki's Coalescence, but that's going to be it. Fleta locks the legs here for one final run at glory. Cue the Chariots of Fire music. And Izayaki goes for the coal. Oh, no.
It's a good start for Dallas, though. Even if they lose Sparkle, you force out the Coalescence in a defensive manner with Primal Rage, and you end up building up towards your own.
Self-destruct forces the Dragons out. They're quite split, actually. Fate doesn't have any help right now. Adaptive shielding keeps him alive, but this time Fearless won't be caught in the corner with the minefield in play. He quickly absconds to the high ground, and there's that sound barrier. Hanbin, you better believe he needed it. He was very, very low, and that buys enough time for him to get that kill. Fleder goes down, and Sparkle's able to find him here. Lip questing, looking for the damage on Fearless. Can't find it as the monkey jumps away, tantalizingly close to getting rid of the main tank here. The Dragons still have work to do. Void to the high ground now. Jagon booped off course once more. At least he wasn't trying to use that sound barrier. This time, though, it has to stick. It has to work. No! It only gets onto Fate. That's all that could be managed there with him being knocked off course. And the rest of the Dragons couldn't get there. A nightmare for Lee Jae-gon. Two-way with sound barriers, and the Dallas Fuel make it 2-0.
Yes, Shanghai is gonna have to come up with something else. They do make it closer here on Volskaya, but it's still not enough. You're gonna have to try and come up with either something a little bit more creative, maybe play the Torb with the Orisa and play really slow and bunkery, because I don't think it's working out.
Shanghai Dragons, it needs to be a change in tack now. Do they have a plan B or C, or whichever one it may be at this point? Because it looks like the Dallas Fuel are ready to deal with whatever they have, and this is not looking nearly as close as the May Melee. Stay tuned and see how map number 3 falls.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile, America's largest and fastest 5G network. Set your sights on the competition with T-Mobile. And by Xfinity, the preferred internet provider of the Overwatch League. The Overwatch League is brought to you by Pringles. Stay in the game. And by NetApp, the official data management partner of the Overwatch League.
Damn, dude, imagine getting paid to watch boats. Couldn't be me. Anyway, exciting announcement from our friends at the Overwatch team. Crossplay, it's coming soon. Players from around the world will be able to team up regardless of their preferred platform. Console players will need to create and link a Battle.net account to group up, though. Celebrate the launch of Crossplay with a golden loot box. Yeah, we all getting that, fam, when the feature goes live. More details coming soon. Get excited, Matthew. I know you're a big console guy. I know you tried to bust out the controller and talent takedown. I know.
I did not. I did not try and do that. I am a big console player, though. I started on console. I think it's crossplay. I think is just awesome for every game, and I'm excited that it comes to Overwatch now. But power rankings like BM Watson, Sparkle Doha at the top, Lips up there as well. We don't see a Fleta in there, and it may be because of the Soldier 76. He's 12th, but I mean, I think this just speaks to how good the Dallas Fuel players have been thus far. Lip was really strong, entering the tournament, right, with his play on different hit stands and other types of heroes. But man, have these first few games between NA and APAC really kind of showed, which composition I feel like is the best right now.
I'm saying this,
you see the Dallas Fuel, they're chilling.
Yeah, look, fun fact, Lip was #1 on those damage rankings last week. So his spot's been taken by his opponent in this particular match. Here's the Dallas Fuel now. This surroundings starting to become a little bit more familiar for them now, as this is their second stint in Hawaii as they play on much lower latency against their foes via the Tokyo servers of some sort of routing finagling magic. It's not my job to worry about that stuff. I just talk video games. But
I can barely get the cable from my router to the wall. I wouldn't know how they route that.
Yeah.
From Hawaii to
some
Tokyo,
degree of complexity, I dare say. Shout out to our League Ops team and the crew at the University of Hawaii and Manoa for helping make it happen. Numbani. So, okay, I did think this map would come up. This was a map where I sort of wondered whether it would sort of be used against Dallas to try and sort of punish them in some way. This is our map leaderboard presented by Xfinity for Numbani, and you can see here Shanghai feature in 3 of these times. The wrong end of them, of course. It was some dark days in 2018, 2019. Last year, obviously, destroying Hangzhou. This is more relevant, with a pretty similar team lineup, destroying Hangzhou. 4:26 on the clock.
I do think, though, we've seen enough from Dallas that they're not going to be bothered by some type of bunker setup from the Dragons. I think the Dragons are just going to need to play it good enough to get a win. It would really surprise me if they played ball defense here on Numbani.
Oh, you're gonna tilt, mate. I'm telling you, you are going to tilt.
I mean,
you're gonna become my own Stephen A. Smith here in the booth.
Volskaya, I get it. Volskaya, I understand. We've seen the ball defense work on Volskaya in the past. Ball defense on Numbani, though.
Okay, so instead of so let's theorize, I guess, how they get value out of this. It definitely seems to try and deny that high ground on occasion.
And the Lucio again. Is the Lucio just to speed around the Ana? Like,
it could be also to try and pilfer in some way or another. Maybe preferable if you want to disengage as well at times from this sort of dive and give your Soldier 76 better positioning by, repositioning yourselves. They're dealing with a Genji here, though.
Just play the Ariza. Like, if you're going to play this, put Lip on the Ashe and, play like Ashe Echo or Torb.
Yep.
Torb Reaper. I mean, Sparkle goes back and he'll play the Doomfist. As, how good he is with different types of rollouts and punches. He's going to be able to access Flood instantly.
All right, so Doha on the right. Lips down. Gets picked up by Jaxa there. It looks like Void's not able to protect him with that defense matrix in the front line. Izayaki, though, good on him. 4 shots gets the job done on Doha. Although Doha is able to find the D-Mech, and that's what leads to the kill on Void. And this is a short-lived defense if I've ever seen it.
Yeah, Fade will be on the point. He's trying to keep it going. I know Ball can just spin to win here, but not that long.
Spin to win, you say.
Yeah, there was a spin. We got the spin part. We did not get the
that's
win.
Delayed.
As,
That's coming by mail. Yeah.
So now they go. I find this so interesting. Like they go double hit scan. Like I guess they feel like is the echo the issue? Now they play McCree flat. What is happening here? The Dragons, I feel like, are just searching for something to work.
Repairing the damage.
I mean, yeah, these compositions are just very odd from Shanghai.
Flatter on the Reaper. Fair enough, I guess. You see him just playing around the bus there, see if he could find something. Sparkle doesn't care. He still gets insta kills against some of these targets. He will respect those Hellfire shotguns until he's ready to dive in and make mincemeat of the Edgelord. Doha dives in. He's got the duplicate here, and it's how is Fled going to get value here against two divas, man?
And he's actually using Deadeye there when he gets taken out by the Bunny Blaster. As Fate was doing the spin to win on the card again. Was not able to hold it down long enough. I don't even think you're going to be able to push this again if you're Shanghai.
This is getting out of control.
That's going to be 2 points. They actually push forward to try and do it, but Sparkle with a knock-up and knocks Void out of the way.
Sparkle.
Okay, so you get a kill on a Sparkle here. You're going to be able to potentially fight this.
Why now, though? Why here, rather? Well, I guess they take what they can get, I suppose, the Dragons. In fairness, they don't use too many ults to get that. Losing Fledder here, though, maybe means, okay, wait a minute, we might have to take this a little bit more seriously, because Sparkle's back. It's a 6v5.
Yep. Dallas has the advantage here now, and this will be a Primal Rage coming in.
Fearless, I don't know what he did then. It's like he butt dived, but then he sort of did a barrel roll in midair, probably to avoid himself getting headshot by Lip.
Doha with the McCree copy now.
Deadeye from Doha? Surely not. Okay, Doha gets knocked out of duplicate by Lip there. Sporting his own Roll Stars badge on McCree. Always
Who says Dallas doesn't have a hit scan? Just get Doha, the duplicated McCree. This is... so now at least Shanghai Live, where you put together two defensive stands in a row. And Dallas doesn't really have anything to work with. The thing, though, that's interesting is that between the damage that Fate puts down doing like pile drivers and then the damage that comes down from Lip, they're not able to finish off anybody on Dallas. They're just allowing Fielder to build the Coalescence faster. Yeah, like just the poke damage at range with them not initiating onto anything is just allowing Fielder to build up Coalescence. I mean, Fielder and Jexay are going to build it off of these pile drivers that come through, which there's no follow-up.
Yeah, you see, though, Sparkle can't deal with the minefield map because Rocket Punch only travels laterally. You cannot get air unless you do like some Doomfist tech. So he would have had to have gone through a mine at some point to get a kill, and he would have died. So that shuts him down, essentially. Flutter goes for the Death Blossom here. This is speculative.
Dallas may opt to fight out of this, as Doha will now do the duplicate. Yup, and you're gonna have Fielder
his face.
using his Coalescence. Yeah,
he's trying to get eliminated quickly. Matt Void realized that he may have messed up there. Oh man, Shanghai really. Okay, they stall a cart for a bit.
Yeah, they got super aggressive there, and I guess they didn't realize maybe that Doha was behind them, and he was able to come back and kind of counter with a big play of his own.
Fight. He's a non-factor right now. Flatter.
Deadeye there.
Oh, what? No. Oh! It might have been a fade forward and Sparkle hits the punch immediately. It's unclear, but that's a costly mistake.
We got to have the overhead map. Fleta is sat behind for so long and then comes out, but there's no sense of urgency to like get near the point. I mean, maybe you thought somebody else was going to touch, but they got booped, but he is sat behind on the Reaper for a solid 15 to 20 seconds waiting for something to happen, and it never does. That is a very, very bizarre way to end that.
I mean, Flatter, maybe not that he doesn't have urgency, maybe more so that he doesn't want to use his teleport, because he'd predictably just get rocket punched. It's too telegraphed against the Doomfist composition. He just knows where you're going to be. So maybe in some sense he has no choice but to saunter up to the cart there. But I mean, Doomfist, all this displacement that you get from Doomfist and D.Va can really throw a spanner in the works of your stall plans. And given the fuel, almost 3 minutes of time back on Nambani is Well, it's devastating.
A lot.
Yeah.
And I'd like to see this. Okay, so this is the replay. So you're going to see where Fleda is on the left side of your screen. He was there as Fate was like rolling around and stalling out. Just never makes it back.
Void leaves the point to peel.
There for a very long
he
time.
leaves the point to peel. And he knows that his Wrecking Ball's coming, but the timing's not quite right.
So now Shanghai, they look like to buckle a little bit. They'll play this comp.
Okay.
So we'll see them. Dallas will probably be surprised that they're actually going to mirror, which this will actually probably force some changes out of Dallas after.
They'll switch the Doom.
First initial wave of fights. They'll switch the Doom, and then they may actually put Sparkle on the Echo, but.
It might depend on duplicate percentage there. All right, well, this is the Dallas Fuel's bread and butter in general. I mean, there you go. That's what happens to the Doomfist, I guess, in this setup. Nicely done.
If they win in the mirror, that's just the wildest timeline.
So far, not so bad, Matt. So far, pretty darn good.
No.
They're not committing to finishing off here, though.
No, this is what I was talking about. They're going to have Sparkle now play the Echo and Doha play the Reaper. And this will be a contest with a Coalescence.
Fielder's low. He could have died there. He's just able to create a spacing, and Fade goes down. The Coalescence from Fielder, and just that aggression of his front line. I think Hardman was involved in that elimination on Fade. What a crucial kill, man. The Dallas Fuel are breaking back into the fight.
Yeah, and Shanghai gets to 91% though. So that's pretty huge for the Dragons. So you get to 91%. You spook the Dallas Fuel a little bit. Now they feel like, hey, they can play the mirror. They can kind of come back at us with it. I'm surprised it took this long to get here, though. It's taken this long to get to the mirror matchup. Because we do have this next fight kicking off.
Fearless of Primal could disrupt this. Yeah, I like that he kind of tries to ignore it because there's always a risk of knocking the Death Blossom into his own team. He doesn't make that mistake, though. Good patience. Fearless starting to bark some orders now. Always the vocal leader here. The self-destruct over the top. Fearless, he gets away from it, but Fielder's not so lucky. Fade's going to drop here in the self-destruct. Might claim his Yaki. No, it's going to force the Fade from him at the very least. Flutter going down there to Fearless was crucial, but Void is at least able to trade that kill out, and now they'll descend upon Hanbin. This mirror, it's the bread and butter of the Dallas Fuel, but that doesn't mean the Dragons don't have a shot here.
No, the Dragons look quite good at it, at least thus far, which is not surprising. You know, Fleta, the MVP from last season, you know, the skin he's got in game is Echo. That tells you, like, what characters and heroes he's good at. And we know what Fade and Void can do on these tanks, so I'm not surprised to see them excel in it. We just haven't seen it thus far. As Fate gets dangerously low and taken out.
Sparkle getting a mech of his own here. There it is. Doha just, yeah, it's hard to deal with. It looks like Lee Jae-gon just tried to peel Doha off him and send him careening back into Lip as Lip came out of Wraithwalk. It's tough. Primal Rage and Lucio Boop with enemy Death Blossoms in play makes it pretty dicey. There's some big misplay potential there, Matt.
And this is where it gets dangerous for Shanghai. Because the good time is already in for the Dallas Fuel. You can invest, you can drag this game out to where you feel like even towards the end, you're going to have an advantage in time bank for the Dallas Fuel.
Fuel just used Coalescence, already a quarter of the way to his next one. Fearless there, trying to avoid the micro rockets, I think. Look at him duck. Look at how serious he is about trying to juggle Fate there. Sound barrier is going to be pretty crucial from the Dragons, but it's not enough to keep their main tank alive. Fearless, however, is thriving. The cart's on the move, though, and there's a disengagement attempt from Dallas. Still ends up with Fearless getting destroyed by Fleta's bomb.
This is not over, though. Sparkle, with a focusing beam, takes out Fleta, and then, as he's weak, gets the duplicate. So he's just trying to keep this stall going even further, as he'll actually make it out with his life. That's incredible. He is so low the entire time.
This is consistent with what Johnny said on the desk, that in their last matchup, the Dallas Fuel had a lower teamfight win percentage, even though they won the series, because they just take so many fights when they can help it. Even if they don't have ultimates, even if they're undermanned or underprepared, so to speak, they take them. They build these ultimates up, and they're relentless. They wear you down. But this time, it's Lip that turns them into bread. A crucial Death Blossom the Dallas were not ready for.
Yeah, huge Death Blossom. I think Hanbin is coming into that fight a little bit weak. The Coalescence comes out from Fielder, and you're able to get him right away with that Death Blossom. So Shanghai, after that little dust up at the beginning by their spawn, they end up wiping the Dallas Fuel through, and they'll take that second checkpoint. So now they have an opportunity here to finish the map. It won't be with as good as time, as you can see. Yeah, Lip goes to that high ground. Hanbin was, he was weak going in, Hanbin, and also trying to follow up. Fearless.
Doha just TP'd there. About as subtle as a sledgehammer as he tried to, I don't know. Death Blossom now, it just gets eaten up by Defense Matrix, but will all of it be cancelled out? Yes. That's a reroll that doesn't work out. Still, he gets it down the old-fashioned way afterwards. Finds Lip after the ultimate, and that self-destruct on the point there from the Dragons won't bother the Fuel much as there's a Winston bubble in play. And Sparkle, he's Moira. Spray, Moira go brrrr. Here's the call, baby.
And Hanbin does a great job of, once Fleta is out of the mech on the Diva duplicate, to chase him down in the sky and take him out. And you potentially see that Doha TP, because there's no stun on the other side. When he goes in with the TP and the bubble comes through from Fearless, maybe they can force a cooldown out or some kind of defense matrix, and he can Wraith form away to safety and then come back.
Somehow, Fearless gets a sick bubble time and that blocks all those sticky bombs. And the Fuel finds Lee J gone here, which means that Fate is, well, he's in deep trouble. Fearless is getting pocketed.
Yeah. And they try and primal there, which leads you to believe they want to keep the fight going.
Without Lucio?
But there's no, like, well, there's no Coalescence. Like, maybe he thought the Coalescence was going to come through. You have the Lucio coming back. But, yeah, no use of any of those abilities. So you just kind of use Primal for nothing.
Oh, man. Okay, Doha sees that, surely.
He's going to get demeked.
Yep. And he just slinks away with it. What? Getting away with absolute daylight robbery, Matthew. Oh. It's Grand Theft Auto. He just steals the mech and he's piecing. Now a Death Blossom for Doha. He can teleport in, but maybe he just sits on it. The Dragons, again, starting to look a little lackluster.
Dallas doesn't have to engage here. I mean, Shanghai disengages and Dallas just backs up because they know they have the clock and the advantage of finishing the map.
Oh, the timing is too good from Doha.
That's their Coalescence as well, Mitch. And now you're going to have double support ults here for the Dallas Fuel, which is like one of the biggest win conditions with this comp. 40 seconds and less now on the clock for the Dragons. So this is series on the line. This has been a one where Dallas Fuel is, they hold here. This is a speed run. This is something I actually predicted when we were on Plat Chat. I thought this match would be a 3-0 in favor of Dallas Fuel, and I mean I said it when we did the pre-show that I thought this could potentially be a blowout.
Your Preds are 3-2 though.
No, that's not true.
Here's the call. Let her out of play, out of line of sight for now. It's a self-destruct that's very defensive. That's pretty darn good. Catches Fielder there who either didn't have the fade or the wherewithal to know what was coming. Spark was still going to trade that one out, though. The Shanghai Dragons get nothing for free. They have to pay with their blood for every inch of progress here. Fearless knows he's done, though. The Dragons have a chance to at least finish the map here, but that's all they're going to be able to achieve. And again, they'd be in a position where they must play for a draw just to stay alive in the series. Dallas is set up here, and they have every intent of knocking the Dragons down to the lower bracket.
Yeah, there'll be Coalescence on the way out. This will be Sparkle with a duplicate as Fearless goes over the ball to contest.
Dex is down. Not a bad start here for the Shanghai Dragons, but there's more to be done. That's it for Coalescence. Yaki now has to resort to the grass for the healing. Fade's there. He's able to get away, but Lip, oh, he wasn't ready. Maybe he was trying to teleport. Whatever it was, Lip just got blown up by Sparkle. Self-destruct. The free bomb from the deeper duplicate. That's ridiculous. Fearless now going to roll back.
Coming on here too.
Wrecking ball here for the Dallas Fuel as Fearless wants to stay in the mix, and Fielder is going to have Cole. Can he keep Hanbin up though? That's going to be important. Yes, Hanbin self-destructs. He should be able to climb back in the mech now, and the bomb doesn't take anyone down for the Dragons, but it's fine. Sparkle returns to the fray, and Fielder beams them all down. Sparkle can play away. Fate walked off the cart just to get the Doomfist. He only saw red. The Dallas Fuel will take the series 3-0. Just over a month ago, these two played in one of the closest matches of the year. What a far cry from that game tonight has been.
I'm surprised with how Shanghai came out and played and what they tried to play. I'm not entirely surprised with the result, though. Like I mentioned, There's no way for Shanghai to practice against this level of aggression. I think it's been proven, especially in NA, with all of the different kind of comps and variations we've seen, that Dallas Fuel running this is very difficult, close to impossible to stop. And I think it was just a perfect storm going into this match where Shanghai, they don't play this style. Nobody else in their region plays it. It's really kind of a counter to what they want to do or would ideally like to do. And Dallas just, catches them. I think you look at what Shanghai ran, and they'll probably have to go back to the drawing board on a lot of stuff. I even think if you're the NYXL, which that'll be our match in the losers round, you look at how successful Dallas was with this comp, and you think about even running it yourself against Shanghai. Because, remember the one time that New York looked really good in that series was Temple of Anubis on offense when they ran this. So that series may be a little bit more interesting than we think.
But we still don't have the answer about whether that comp from Dallas is the best. Because awaiting them in the upper bracket final is the Atlanta Reign. And they, of course, have really gone above and beyond expectations so far. So that'll be an incredible game. That'll be we'll finally get our answer maybe on what is the ideal approach in this meta, because so many teams have a different take on it. But one thing that's indisputable is our player of the match today, presented by Xfinity. And in this series, it has to be Sparkle, Matt. We often give it a DPS. In fact, no, we give it to flex supports a lot, to be fair, but it's the Doomfist play, I think, that Dragons really can't deal with here. I mean, he's dealing with, like, the Soldier 76, sort of Reaper compositions, the ball. It's interesting that Dallas can make that flex even to the Genji, and Sparkle is their man for that kind of, that switch-up to change their approach.
And the thing is you know what's coming when you're the other team, and, you see, whether it's the Genji, the Doom, Reaper, or the Echo on the other side. And even with that fact, people cannot stop it. I think, we mentioned how good Fearless was in the first stage, and I also think, obviously, Sparkle was a huge part of that, being able to pick up the Tracer. I think with the way Sparkle's playing now and the way he's able to play for this Dallas team, like, he's putting himself in the MVP conversation now as well.
Absolutely. Guy's, frankly, pretty unhinged. Incredibly aggressive player. Knows that he plays in a way that, if he can at least trade kills, then that's more than enough for the Dallas Fuel. Any team fight where they can be on even footing after sort of getting to, pick a target off, they are happy with. And Sparkle, it was the Genji as well. Eventually he breaks through. He shuts down that high ground Ana composition. And yeah, it looked incredible across the entirety of the series. A lot of people are asking, like, why is it that you sort of see Sparkle play the sort of Echo sometimes, Doha on the Reaper? You can see that this is how Dallas Fuel are sort of covering their weaknesses. And I want to think back to the start of the June Joust, where so many people said, all of Dallas's best heroes have been, they're out of rotation. They're in trouble. Well, so much for that, right?
Not much trouble, looks like, for the Dallas Fuel.
In crazy stuff. So it's two West region seeds going forward, and there's a guaranteed Western seed in the grand final here of the June Joust. But for now, we're going to step aside for a moment and hear from Doha after a short break.
Coca-Cola is the official refreshment of the Overwatch League.
Welcome to the Watchpoint Post Show presented by IBM. We're joined here now by Doha from Dallas Fuel. Doha, congratulations on the win today. 도하 선수 인터뷰해 주셔서 너무 감사드리고 오늘 승리 너무나 축하드립니다.
감사합니다.
Alright, so this is already the third time Dallas Fuel went up against the Shanghai Dragons this season. But this time around, compared to the other two times in the May Melee, you guys made it seem really, really easy. What sort of gave you the edge today? Do you believe that it was mostly comp diff? 첫 번째 질문은 이제 벌써 상하이 팀과의 이번 시즌의 경기를 3번이나 치르셨는데요. 저번 2번과는 다르게 이번에는 좀 쉽게 말씀드리면 굉장히 좀 빠르고 쉽게 좀 이기신 것 같아요. 도하 선수가 보셨을 때 그 이유가 어떻게 보면 좀 조합 차이가 컸다고 보시나요?
일단 저희 팀 굉장히 뚝심 있는 팀으로 좀 유명하잖아요. 맨날 몽키만 쓰고. 그래서 이제 저희가 조합을 바꿨다기보다는 상대방이 이제 저희 조합을 뭐로 이길지 아직 확실하게 못 정한 상태에서 온 것 같아서 조합 차이를 이겼다기보다는 상대방이 좀 조합을 못 정해서 사실 저희가 뭐 조합을 유리하게 가져왔다보다는 상대방이 좀 갈팡질팡하면서 못 정한 게 좀 큰 것 같아요.
Alright, so I wouldn't really say that it was a comp diff. It was rather, the short answer would be, I feel like Shanghai Dragons didn't really know what comp they sort of wanted to play. Compared to Shanghai Dragons, as you guys all know, Dallas Fuel is a team that sort of stuck with one comp throughout the whole June Joust, and we've been known for that, we've been known for using one composition throughout the whole June Joust, for the monkey and the rush composition that you've all seen. So yes, short answer, it wasn't really a comp diff, it was rather Shanghai Dragons it seemed like they didn't know what composition they wanted to come out with to fight against our team Dallas Fuel. Interesting. All right, let's move on to our next question. You guys are so now up against the Atlanta Reign in the winners bracket. What is your game plan going into your match tomorrow against the Atlanta Reign? 자, 두 번째 질문 좀 더 쉬운 질문입니다. 이제 도하 선수 내일 이제 아틀란타 팀과 승자조라고 제 생각에는 승자조가 맞는 것 같네요. 네, 승자조에서 이제 아틀란타 팀과 이제 경기를 치르시게 되는데, 네, 좀 어떻게 하면은 달라스 팀이 이길 수 있을까요?
사실 상하이보다는 아틀란타가 좀 더 걱정인 게 이제 저희가 이제 서부에서 공격적으로 좀 잘하는 팀이라고 생각을 하면 아틀란타가 이제 수비적으로 제일 잘하는 팀이라고 생각하거든요. 그래서 집에 가서 아틀란타 경기 좀 챙겨보고 뭐 오늘처럼 하면 이길 수 있지 않을까 생각합니다.
Alright, so I feel like I was a lot more worried about Atlanta Reign coming into the June Joust playoff rather than Shanghai Dragons, because in the West we're known as a team that's very offensive and we're really good in attack. And I believe Atlanta Reign is on the opposite side, where Atlanta Reign is a team in the West that is probably the best in defense, in a very defensive play style, and they really sort of thrive in that. So I believe me and our team sort of have to go back and sort of watch Atlanta Reign's gameplay and also sort of study up on how they sort of carry on their matches. And if we just sort of play how we played against the Shanghai Dragons today, then I believe that it will be a win for the Dallas Fuel. Alright, Doha, thank you so much for the interview. I loved all of your answers and good luck tomorrow. 도하 선수 인터뷰 주셔서 너무 감사드리고 오늘 좋은 답변해 주셔서 정말 너무나도 감사드리면서 보내드리겠습니다. 감사합니다.
감사합니다.
Thank you. All right, let's head back to the desk.
Thumbs up from us as well. Thank you so much, Danny, and thank you, Doha. Congratulations to Doha and his entire team. Another dominant showing so far as they move on in the bracket. Now, we need to discuss the match we just saw, and I think Doha just hit on one of the points I want to talk about in one of his answers, which is Shanghai didn't really know what they want to run against them. They did show us a variety of different comps, and I personally can't say I was a fan of any of them, per se. Costa, I feel like we're on the same page here.
Yeah, and here's what I want to hit on, because I know there's a lot of, angry Shanghai fans and all that kind of stuff is, I actually don't hate what the Shanghai Dragons came out with. They came up with their own style of trying to counter this Lucio Moura that the Dallas Fuel has been playing. The Wrecking Ball, it has some merit that if you can slam as the dive is happening, you can disrupt it, maybe get some advantages. But for me, the thing that I'm looking at for is not the fact that Shanghai failed, is that they needed to try and do something different, right? If you're the Shanghai Dragons and you're coming into this match, you can't just be like, oh, we have to copy the Lucio Moira to get the win, because they're never going to win the mirror either, because Dallas is so experienced on this composition. So they need to come up with a solution. Obviously, their solution just didn't work, and we go on to Numbani, they go into the mirror, and it still has some mixed results, exactly as I said. They just couldn't get enough done in the mirror, and Dallas is always going to win that head-to-head. So if anything, I think it is kind of a comp diff of just the meta that the Dallas people have been playing is just so strong and coming out to be one of the best metas that we have in this June Joust right now, and the Shanghai Dragons just don't have an answer.
I mean, okay, I think you're being pretty nice there, because like you're being very generous to the Shanghai Dragons, because we looked at this match and it felt like they were experimenting throughout the match with what to do. The Fate Wrecking Ball came out, and I actually gave it some merit too. You know, you can slam, you can counter dive while the Dallas Fuel are in the air from that pile drive. You can capitalize and aggress with the Torbjorn to collapse a bit on Dallas Fuel. But I mean, that was not a great showing. Like, we're in the playoffs here for the June Joust. I'm expecting some compositions that make sense, you know, that have synergy. And we have two great compositions. One is the Echo Reaper that we saw that Dallas Fuel have been playing. And the other one, we've seen a lot of teams play the Orisa comp with the Torbjorn, maybe with the McCree, the Baptiste. And the Shanghai Dragons, we're just kind of like in between. They would throw out the Soldier, you know, the Reaper. It didn't look like they were well prepared at all for this match, which was a bit disappointing to me, because now Shanghai Dragons, they fall down into the lower bracket, and they're going to take on the New York Excelsior, who they are the favorites against, but they will have to play better if they're going to take on the likes of Dallas Fuel and Atlanta Reign in a lower bracket run.
I'm disappointed. Not necessarily with the Shanghai Dragons, but with both of you, because you're being so nice right now. We were watching that game, and during
how was I nice?
Reinforcing literally told me during the game, like, I'm not gonna defend that Hammond pick, and here you are. It's like, no, I see where they're coming from, you know.
I said, yeah, I justified it, but I didn't like it. So then okay.
Let me come in real quick. With just let me get a little bit of anger in here for you, Zoe. Okay. Let me choose violence for a second there. I understand the Wrecking Ball to a degree. I think you make sense when you slam, you can be counter dive, and then you can sort of maybe do more than the Orisa. The Soldier, on the other hand, I don't think there is a defense for that pick. I don't think Soldier gets value in any situation. Sure, he can run away from the dive, but that doesn't help your team win. Fleta has a phenomenal Echo. He is one of the best. He has a skin in the game for this hero. Just play him on the Echo. There is no reason to try and find some roundabout reason, especially when Sparkle is playing the Doomfist. Just play Fleta on the Echo, and then, you know, I think at the end of the day, they learned they had to play the mirror, but there was some very questionable choices to find a solution to this Dallas Fuel setup.
That's it.
That's it. That's the point. That's what I want to do here. Thank you so much. Yeah, I was just out for blood, as I said. Now I want to talk about the first match. Another very quick one, another 3-0. NYXL did show some good signs there, but ultimately they were outplayed and outclassed by the Atlanta Reign, who just came in aggressive, all right? I felt like Kai and Pelican at some point just tried to speedrun it. They just wanted to get in and out of that match like as quick as possible. They were going for the juggler.
But this is also what we sort of expected from the Atlanta Reign, to be honest. I mean, they look like to be a complete team. They understand what compositions to play on what maps. They have different play styles. They like to go aggressive with this Reaper, and then you can have Pelican go aggressive on the Echo. Kai can peel back on the Ash. So they have very different compositions on different maps. They've got it all figured out. They know what their June Joust playoffs plan is, and they have it all figured out. The Excelsior, the Shanghai Dragons, they're still figuring out things for their own. We saw York Excelsior here. They swapped between this Orisa composition they're playing now during this highlight, and then they also played some of the speedier compositions, the Echo and the Reaper. But it didn't make sense when they played what on certain maps. Like, it was just like, hey, are you like flipping a coin but deciding between the Orisa comp and the Winston composition? Because here on Numbani, when Pelican gets this beautiful Death Blossom, we can see that New York Excelsior, they're actually playing the Winston composition into a Brig, into a Torb, into a Reaper. And if you're not Dallas Fuel, that is very difficult. So the Excelsior, they get 3-0'd here by the Atlanta Reign. They have to figure out before tomorrow what compositions they want to run on what maps to give them the best possible chance of winning.
It's funny because it's kind of like when you're copying someone's math homework and you're sort of following it down, you're like, yeah, this makes sense, and you get to the end and you're like, That doesn't make sense. And that's sort of what NYXL feels like when they are playing this composition, is they know how it should be played, they know what should be played, but they don't know how to play it because they haven't had any experience, they don't have any experience on it. So the Dallas Fuel are just looking like an immaculate gameplay, and then NYXL can't make it work. The major question that I have is for tomorrow, NYXL versus Shanghai. Do they both come out and play this composition? Do they go out and both play the Lucio Moira and see who comes out on top? Because if we've learned anything from today, the Lucio Moira composition is the superior composition in the June Joust. Which one's going to adopt it and which one's going to play it better? And I think that's the story for both of these teams, because NYXL has played it a little bit. They look like they've practiced it to a degree. Are they going to bring it out against the Shanghai Dragons?
It's gonna be a tough matchup regardless, as they will move on. I mean, one team will win and then they will have to face off against either a team they already lost against convincingly, or against another team which also won convincingly in their first bout. So yeah, tough hill to climb. Now we're gonna take a quick look at our predictions. I mean, it's not much to see, but we're just correct. There we go.
I asked for these graphics to be removed from the show.
No, Johnny, let's go on to the next one. That's the one that matters. I gotta glow. I need to get my gloating in.
This one's a banger. Look at that.
Boom, love to see it. Johnny,
like, what's the point of
someone's
showing?
got to be on the bottom.
Who cares?
You gotta start.
Like, just show
Why
our
didn't you
faces
predict something?
instead.
I haven't printed
I'll
out.
predict
I'm
something
thinking
tomorrow,
about turning
okay?
it into a wallpaper, actually.
Yeah.
It might look
Okay.
nice in that case.
Can I borrow your
don't know.
frame?
Well, you've always set up the second place,
Yes.
so you know.
That's okay. Always the
I don't know.
bridesmaid.
Sorry, that was terrible.
It's all right. At
Sorry.
least I get to wear pretty dresses.
That was
so
really
there is
bad.
that.
That was one of my worst.
No, it's
that was
okay.
my worst today.
I'm not mad at it. Second is better than third is all I have really here. And now we're going to head into a very quick break, and then when we're back, we're going to talk more Overwatch and of course our best of the day as well. Stay tuned.
Coca-Cola is the official refreshment of the Overwatch League.
welcome back to the Watchpoint Post Show presented by IBM. We were just discussing this delightful Bastion skin. More importantly, Ganymede skin. It's incredible.
Sick.
I love it. Yes. Yeah. Actually, my favorite Ganymede skin. Ganymede also my favorite hero. One day, a girl boy.
So your favorite hero is essentially Bastion?
No, his bird. I just really like birds, all right? Pelican. Point.
Yeah.
There we go.
Hawk,
Won.
yeah.
I won this
Hawk.
argument. I'm very good at debating.
Yeah.
Hawk, another great bird. Lots of birds, great birds. You know what's also great? Speed Boost, presented by Speed. That's where we, that's where I knew I could get you with that one. That's where we're heading next now, because quite frankly, today was a quick one, as you know, the matches just went by in a jiffy. You blinked and you missed it. Atlanta and Dallas, they both gave a masterclass on domination. Both ended with a 3-0. It was very one-sided, and you know, the teams in the East are about 2 weeks behind in the teams of the West in terms of the meta, at least, because or at least that's how it feels when one looks at those matches.
Yeah, well, it's actually interesting because a lot of what the East are playing was this Orisa Baptiste style, and that was something that was played earlier in the Western region, right? That was played in around week 2, week 3 in the West, and that's when this Lucio Moira composition came through and shook the Western side, and that's what's happening right now. The East is shook by this Lucio Moira rush comp as Dallas and Atlanta Reign both picking up very quick wins today.
I mean, the best way to sum it up really was Dallas Fuel's winning camera there, like their winning moment. Like they just got up and stretched. Like they didn't celebrate, they just like, oh, touch the toes. Yep, that's good. That was a good first day. June Joust playoffs. Yeah, I mean, they seem pretty comfortable in this meta compared to the Apex teams. Yeah, very one-sided. I've had tons of coffee at 8 p.m. I don't know what I'm gonna do the rest of the evening. It's a bit of a mess.
Yeah, I was planning for a longer night as well, but alas, here we are. However, we still have a little bit more to go here in our post-show, of course. We do have our best of the day, but afterwards, a little treat for you. So stick around until the very end. Yes, stick around. You know, all the good movies, they have good credits. We're a great movie. And obviously there are going to be great credits. So, you know, not to just... Anyway, stick around.
Move on.
There's something to be said there, and then I couldn't. And here we are. Anyway, best of the day. I'm going to kick us off with the Sparkle diff. And he's just an obvious one. I know he's like the lowest hanging fruit of all the fruits. He's literally on the floor. That's how low we're at. But he's just so good. Like, every time I see him play, it's like a little bit of magic happening right in front of me. I feel like I become a better person. Thank you, Sparkle. It's just beautiful. I don't know how he does it. He just makes whatever he touches and he makes it work. He's just this young prodigy, incredible player, really funny character as well. Like, I'm just a big Sparkle fan.
If he can make Genji work in this meta, he can do anything. That's what I'm saying. You've heard me rant about Genji, but he makes me believe every time I watch him play it. I'm like, maybe, but no, Genji's not meta. Just let Sparkle do it.
Yeah, I love watching players like Sparkle, Prophet, Fleta, like just like flex players as well. Like when you got big brain flex players making moves, like that's one of the most entertaining things in Overwatch for me. So Sparkle,
indeed,
really popping off in 2021. It's been one of my favorite things as well. So.
Yeah. Well.
All right, my turn.
Costa.
Sorry.
Yeah. What's yours?
We're going on to a good old-fashioned Shang 9. It's been a while since we had a good old-fashioned Shang 9, and at first glance it didn't seem that bad, but Void had a fight or flight moment here. He recognized he had to touch the point, and he touches the point, and you're like, good job, Void, we got this contest, we got this thing, and then he like sees a Doomfist, and he's like, it's like a moth to a flame. He's like, I have to chase the Doomfist, and he just goes for it, and not the play, I think.
Yeah, I mean, Fate was close. Fate, I think Fate is rolling in here, and it's about to slam on the payload. So he's like, yeah, I'm gonna touch. And Void just leaves. Like, there's a split moment there. They capture it. This was a true Shang 9. Like, like top three Shang 9 of all time in the Overwatch League.
It was like one of those mask moments, you know, like my job here is done, kind of thing. She's like, I touched it once. Your turn. Off he goes.
Someone else do something.
Well, you didn't do anything.
That was so bad to watch. It hurts a lot.
It was not great. Well, there's one thing that stands out today on the Overwatch League broadcast, and it's that Danny's not on the desk. So naturally, to compensate, my best of the day It's going to be Danny's ad breaks. Danny takes
Oh,
flight
very nice.
and heads over to Hawaii. I miss the man. I miss Danny. He just makes everything so much better. Like, he's not even the cherry on top of the cake. He's the cherry in the cake. Okay? That's how I'd like to think about Danny. With what the Overwatch League broadcast. Yeah.
So he's just the cake, basically.
Yes, but he makes it complete, you know? It's just not bread, it's not cream, you know? He is the flavor, okay? He's the one making the cake
So
what
is
it
he
is.
the cherry
And that's
or the
why I
cake?
love Danny. So I just want more of
Johnny,
Danny.
thank you so much. I heard all of that.
look
You
at
think
that.
I'm
That's
Going
embarrassing.
back.
cake? Okay, hey, I mean, if you want more cake, I'm coming very soon. Don't worry, I'll bring you all the cake. All right, that sounds a little weird. Yeah,
Can't wait.
guys,
Let's
you.
bake
We missed
together.
I
those
miss you.
moments.
No, okay, all right.
Cook something up, Danny.
I know. You guys didn't think that I was gonna do my best of the day, but no, that's probably one of my favorite things about being on the
Critically
best. So
acclaimed.
I'm gonna
It
do
is,
it.
yeah, it's critically acclaimed, so
And then
it
you guys
is the
see
best
it.
segment.
Homesick. Yes, I am homesick. My best of the day is you three. Honestly, after just like seeing you guys on the desk and not seeing myself on it, you know, I just felt homesick. You know, I was like, oh man.
We miss you. Make a space for
you,
Danny.
Danny.
Yeah,
Make
you
space
guys-
for
you
Danny.
guys
This
got-
is you, Danny.
you guys
I'll
got rid
I'll
of
cut
my
myself in
space.
half for you.
You guys
Just
got
for
rid of my
you,
space,
Danny.
so I was a little sad. So I was like, yeah, I need to get back in there very soon. I need to get back in there. Guys,
Come
don't
back
forget
soon.
about me. I will be back. But yeah, but for now,
But-
I'm gonna go back to the beach because I'm gonna go learn how to surf. All right, bye guys.
Okay, dude.
Good
Way
luck.
to ruin
I see
it.
how it is.
I just thought that it can't get more wholesome, and now he's back, rubbing it in. Good job, Danny.
It's not the same without him.
It really isn't. Yeah,
just
no, it
us
really
three
isn't.
idiots.
We do miss him. We do miss him. Let's see how many more ad breaks of Danny just living his best beach life we are gonna see, you know, coming up. Now, we still have, of course, tomorrow's schedule to look at and quickly discuss. So let's pop that one
Nice.
off and look at the matches ahead of us, as some of them hopefully will be a lot closer than what we got to see today, which quite frankly has been a little bit one-sided. But we continue the trend in blue versus red because we're
very nice.
lazy script writers. Yeah, that's right, and it's a great color combination. Almost complementary colors there. Now, Dallas Fuel and Rain, I mean, this is going to be such a fun game, guys, because that's just
yeah.
going to be aggression on aggression on aggression with a little bit aggression.
Yep.
Well, it's funny because Doha said it himself. We got the hyper-aggressive Dallas Fuel versus the very defensive Atlanta Reign. So it's the definition of the clash of the two styles. And it's going to be really interesting to see if Atlanta's Torbjorn and Sweden will prevail, right, Johnny?
Yeah, Sweden. You gotta anticipate both the Brig and the Torb. You know, they're a real threat to the world beaters, Dallas Fuel. But that being said, though, sorry, I know we gotta move on. But I am curious if Doha is underestimating the aggression and pressure that Atlanta Reign can put on. If he says that they're like the best defensive team, gotta watch out for Pelican in your backline, and you gotta watch out for Hawk putting pressure on you because they're up in your grill, they're up in your face. So the Atlanta Reign, they're well-rounded. They're not just defensive, they're both. So it's gonna be a really good game, so.
Yeah, no, they definitely have shown us that they're able to turn it up when it was needed. And I just want to see if the Dallas Fuel can keep up their aggression level against a defensive team. Like, will they get punished finally? Because we've just kind of been waiting for them to be punished. Not that we want them to lose, but it kind of, you know, at one point you got to ask yourself the question, like, but why? Yeah, well, we find out tomorrow. I'm very excited for these matches. Of course, also NYXL will get another chance, as well as the Shanghai Dragons, as they will battle it out in the lower bracket. Now, that will do it for us. Thank you all for watching our Watchpoint post show. We have a very special treat for you, as I announced, and we want to shout out all the amazing artists in our community who helped make this one happen. So please now enjoy our new, phenomenal, gorgeous, beautiful end credits.